Hey guys, and welcome to Gwent, the Witcher card game. My name is Jaggerous, and today I'm gonna show and tell the upcoming Scoia'tael cards for the Gwent Master Mirror expansion. And if you want to find a link to all of the reveals, I will have that in the description below for you to check out for yourself. So Scoia'tael will have a new evolving card. Every faction has one. And Scoia'tael's one is our good friend Ithne. So this card changes between rounds. Round 1 it will have this form. Round 2 it changes to a slightly different version. And round 3 a different one. So I have Ithne, Young Queen, Dryad. Spawn a young Dryad in this row. At the start of the round, while in hand or deck, transform. So what is a young Dryad? That is the next question. Here she is. She is a doomed 2-strength Dryad with symbiosis as a tag. So what is symbiosis? Well, symbiosis is a thing where if you play a nature card, you will also spawn a wandering Trent, and its strength will be based on how many symbiosis cards you have. So if you have 3 symbiosis units on the board, and you play a nature card, you get the added perk of also spawning, I believe, a 3-point Trent. We can double check that. Look at that. Let's just do our research. Devotion. No. Echo. Retro. Nope. Here we go. Whenever you play a nature card, spawn a Trent, which power is equal to the number of cards with symbiosis you control on a random allied row. So there we go. Look at me. I was correct. I'm such a genius. Yeah, so that's what symbiosis does. And it's just worth being aware of that because all your nature cards are now going to do a little bit more. So, going back, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. I don't know I'm blowing, but whatever. You play this, you spawn a young Dryad, so you get 1 symbiosis. Then on round 2, can we just say how glorious this card art is? It's so emotive. I love it. Ithne Mother, spawn 2 young Dryads in the row. So you get 2 symbiosis units for every subsequent nature card you play. And then you can spawn Trents, but be careful with Harmony. Then we have Devotion, which means that if you have no neutrals in your deck, then on round 3, she will become Wrath of the Broccolon. Is that like how people say the COVID? The Broccolon. I thought Broccolon was a forest. Would you call it the Broccolon? I don't know. I don't know about that. Oh, well, you know what, whatever. Symbiosis. So this then becomes symbiosis in and of itself. It also has Veil. So when you play this, you would get 3 symbiosis units, and all subsequent nature cards get, Trents with +3, assuming your symbiosis units are not removed. So that's kind of what's happening with Scoia'tael. Then if we look at the card pool here, we have Circle of Life, and it moves us all. Through despair and hope. Through faith and love, until we find our way on the path unwinding. Yeah, it's the Circle of Life. It's a nature card, so you have the whole symbiosis thing. Damage an enemy unit by 3, then boost a random Scoia'tael unit in your hand by 2. So a little bit of hand buff, a little bit of carryover. Death Blow, boost target Scoia'tael unit. So if you kill something, you can pick what you boost, which is lovely for certain cards which like to be boosted, or cards that you want to save for round 3. You can guarantee the carryover. Nature card with this whole symbiosis thing also does have a little bit extra strength to it, so you might think it's 3 with 2 carryover, but if you're then spawning a 2-point Trent as well, it gives this card a little bit more reach, right? And that is nice. Then we have the terrifying Oak Critters. Deploy melee, give an enemy unit bleeding. 3, deploy ranged, spawn a base copy of self in this row. So this is a Trent, so you can get a couple Trents if you play them in the range row, and you can also apply bleeding. And if you have devotion, so only Scoia'tael cards, you do both. So it would be 4 points of critters plus 3 points of bleeding. That's what that does. It's alright. It's alright. Next we have Dwen Canal Guardian. Veil, symbiosis. So Veil means you can't apply status to it. It's another symbiosis unit. When you play it, you damage an enemy unit by 2. You also get that symbiosis tag, so I guess you can then play nature cards and have big impact. The issue at the moment is a lot of the existing nature cards you like to play early, Waters of Broccolon, for example, Call of the Forest is very situational about when you would play it, whereas with a symbiosis deck, you want to play your symbiosis units and then your nature cards. So there's a little bit of kind of sequencing going on here that might be a little bit awkward, shall we say. Anyway, moving on. Next up, we got Hammer Dryad. It's hammer time. Symbiosis. At the end of a turn, if this unit has Vitality, boost self by 1. So if you apply Vitality to this unit, it also gets an extra boost per Vitality, right? So you would play this, and she would become, say, you put Vitality on her. She goes up to 5 from the Vitality, but also gets a boost from her own ability. So Vitality is extra useful if applied to the Hammer Dryad. So, yeah, that seems good. Abandoned Girl, human, unsurprisingly. Unsurprising. It's not surprising. I'm not surprised. Transforms herself into a young Dryad without changing power. So this is kind of interesting because you play a human tag and then it transforms. So it removes the human tag even in and of itself. And it would be a 4-strength young Dryad and it gives you more symbiosis. So it's a little bit of an odd mechanism. I think it's very flavorful though, because the whole point isn't Dryads, they take children and turn them into Dryads. Like, that's a thing that they do, I think. I'm going to say that's what they do. Yeah, so flavorful. I don't know. Right, moving on. Shaping Nature. Oh, look, it's a nature card. Echo. So echoes, when you play them, they go into your graveyard, obviously, because it's special. And then at the start of the next round, this card will move to the very top of your deck, guaranteeing that you draw it again. That's the kind of echo effect, you know, it comes back. But it gets doomed, so the second time you play it, it just disappears forever off the face of the planet. Choose one. Boost an allied unit by 6 and give it Veil. Boost an allied unit by 8. Boost an allied unit by 5 and give it Vitality 5. So this Vitality that you can apply to something like the Hammer Dryad, obviously going to be very useful. You have a lot of options here. Worst case, you know, you're getting 6 plus Veil. Boosting an allied unit by 8 is quite a big one. I'm just thinking with Scoia'tael, like, is there things that you want to put boosts on? I guess you can kind of protect units, right? Like the 6 boost onto something like a Pavko is kind of big. And with Mystic Echo, where you can play this again, I guess a third, how does that work? Right, so let's say we play Shaping Nature, and then we Mystic Echo it. Then we would have 2 copies in the graveyard. And then at the start of the next turn, we'd have 2 copies on the side of the deck. Top of the deck, I think. I think that's what would happen. This is an interesting card. This, I don't know. I don't know how useful these boosts are. But then it's like an 8-point boost. 8 points in one turn is quite a lot, like for tempo. But then you're going Toll, which plays into poison. If you give it Veil, though, then you can't be poisoned, and they can't apply more poison. And then 5 plus 5 Vitality. Vitality obviously is useful as well. And you can put this on Figus, right? You make your defender more powerful. You have that option. There are cards that you definitely want to boost. Trent Boar as well. You can make him kind of more protected. There are a lot of engines in Scoia'tael where you'd want to give them that option. So I do like this card. Then we have the Dunka. Veil Zeal, so no statuses. Melee, damage an enemy unit by 3. At the end of your turn, if order is not used, boost a random Scoia'tael unit in your hand by 1. So you'll notice that there's a lot of these kind of cards per faction where they do something on order and they have an ability if you don't use the order. Egmont, for example, here is a good example of that. Yeah, Yirka as well. So you have the 3 damage, but it's also hand buff. So it's kind of like a fancy smuggler, right? Hawker Smuggler. It's not row locked in its. I think the secondary ability is not row locked. I think it's only the order that's row locked. So a little bit more flexible and also more survivable because of the 1 armor. And then you have the option at the end of the, at the end to then turn that into damage. So yeah, I like it. I think it has a solid place in Scoia'tael. Next, we have the Forest Protector. Always use protection, even if you are a forest. Play a bronze nature card from your graveyard. So you're replaying like Nature's Rebuke. You have the Purifying nature card as well, for example. Dryad's Caress. So yeah, I do know what cards are called. You also have our new friendo, which is the Circle of Life, and it moves a soul through despair and hope. I'm gonna stop. Yeah, so this gives you options with that you can replay it. 11 provision seems quite high though. I don't know. Like you're getting a Trent tag, but you're not getting a Symbiosis tag, so you're just getting this plus a nature card. I guess it's good for like Gourd, right? For Gourd decks where you're playing a lot of specials, having units that play specials is always good for that. So it works there. Then we have Frixenet. Deploy melee. Boost a Dryad in your hand by 2. Deploy ranged. Spawn a young Dryad. So we can play this to create a Symbiosis unit. We can play it to boost a Dryad. And we can also, if we have Devotion, do both. So this card, I feel like it's a Devotion card, right? There's some cards where it does 2 things. Oak Critters is another one, and I think they're just designed around the Devotion mechanic rather than the choice. And I think that's the same here. really. And yeah, that does the entire set, I believe, of Master Mirror cards. I've looked at all of them and talked about all of them. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Which faction do you think is the most exciting? I do think I'm kind of Syndicate, Nilfgaard, and Monsters. Those are my 3 that I'm going to play first, I think. And the other 3 can all get in the bin, for all I care. Nah, I'm sure I'll check them all out. What sort of content do you guys want to see with the upcoming expansion? If you enjoyed this video, you can always leave a like, and you can always subscribe to the channel for more content. I hope you guys have an awesome expansion wherever you are. I'll try and get a seasonal video up for you guys as quick as possible. You know that I always try and do that before the start of each new season. Beyond that, have a lovely day. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next video.